Hey guys, welcome back to Carib 21 Network, wherever in the world you're watching us from. So today's story is coming out of the beautiful Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, when she took office earlier this year, one of the things that happened is that she declared that the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, does not exist in a zone of peace because of the increase in crime in Trinidad and Tobago and drug trafficking and human trafficking that is linked between Trinidad and Venezuela. And that pretty much set the stage for what we're seeing now in the Caribbean with this conflict between the Americans and the Venezuelans. And people are now asking, is it possible to host the world's greatest carnival in the middle of a war zone? So, let's talk about it. So for the past 6 weeks or so, I have been bombarded with a lot of messages coming from people in North America, people in the diaspora, that they are very concerned about the carnival in Trinidad and Tobago, 2026 Trinidad Carnival. And I've been bombarded with messages to do a story on this, to talk about Trinidad Carnival and the possibility of it being cancelled if war breaks out in the Caribbean. It took me a while to say, you know what, I am not going to do this yet out of respect for the Trinidadian people, because trust me, Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago, Carnival is the heartbeat of Trinidad and Tobago, the same way reggae is the heartbeat to Jamaica. Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago is a big thing, so I did not want to mess with that. But last week now, when we saw a report coming out of America that they are encouraging Americans living in Venezuela to evacuate, to leave Venezuela. And we saw multiple stories coming out of America that they are getting prepared to make land strike. One thing for sure with everyone that I've had this conversation with, everyone came to the conclusion that if there is a land strike in Venezuela, there is no way that they will be able to hold the carnival in February in Trinidad and Tobago, because that would be putting millions of people life at risk. So that is why I decided to talk about it today. Is it possible to host the world's best carnival in the middle of a war zone? And one of the things what I want to do with this video, I want to reach out to the organizers of the carnival, the Trinidadian Carnival, and I'm going to leave my number on the screen. So if anyone who are part of the organizing committee in Trinidad and Tobago can just reach out so we can update the people in the diaspora that see Trinidad Carnival as an event that they attend every year. I know someone personally that's been going to Trinidad Carnival from Toronto, Canada every single year for the past 20 years. And thousands of people in the diaspora, Americans, Europeans that live in North America, make that trip to Trinidad and Tobago religiously on a yearly basis to support Trinidad Carnival. So I'm reaching out to the organizers to give us some update on what is really going on. Is it really going to be possible to host the world's best carnival in the middle of this conflict between America and Venezuela? And the reason why I was very skeptical of running this story 6 weeks ago, when I first started to get a lot of requests from people in North America to talk about this story, is because I remember back in the summer when we ran the story about the Trinidad and Tobago Independence Day Parade, and the parade had to be cancelled because they said that there was some credible threat out there. And running that story, there was a lot of people pushing back and saying, look, the safety of Trinidad and Tobago is more important than Independence Day Parade. And the Prime Minister at the time came out and said, people, instead of having these large gatherings for the parade, people need to go to church and they will have a day of worship. So that was that during the summer. So, I say, you know what, I am not going to run this story right now based on all of that took place during the summer, and as I said, out of respect for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But as I said, fast forward now and seeing what is happening and getting a lot more requests to talk about this, because the difference with Trinidad and Tobago Carnival as opposed to the Independence Day Parade is that, as I said, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival is the heartbeat of Trinidad. And let me just give you some numbers. 2025, the carnival in Trinidad and Tobago generated around 95 million US dollars. 95 million US dollars, which is 668 million Trinidadian dollars that were spent during Carnival, and over 41,000 people visited Trinidad and Tobago. So it is not just, I know people see it just as a big party in the street and people gyrating and having fun, but this is a big part of the Trinidadian economy. This brings a lot of money to Trinidad and Tobago and helps out a lot with the tourism industry. So this is a bit different from the Independence Day Parade, as I said. Losing out on $668 million in Trinidad and Tobago, that is a lot of money. And where would that money come from if Carnival had to be cancelled? What would happen with the preparation? Because we know that for an event like Carnival, it takes months of preparation, costumes development, people from early, as soon as one Carnival ends, organizers and people that develop these costumes for the parade, they start to work from day one. The following day after Carnival ends, they have to start working for the following year. So this is a lot of work, a lot of preparation, and people are going to lose millions of dollars if Trinidad Carnival cannot happen in 2026. And another thing to keep in mind with Trinidad Carnival is that Trinidad and Tobago Carnival is the carnival that feeds the entire world. We know like over 50 countries across the world enjoy Carnival every year. So there's always a carnival somewhere in the world. And that is tied in to the Trinidad Carnival, which brings in billions of dollars to the world economy under the name of Trinidad and Tobago. So let me just give you an example. So in Canada, one of the carnival, the biggest carnival in North America, is the Toronto Caribbean Carnival. The Toronto Caribbean Carnival in 2025 brought in over 500 million Canadian dollars to the Canadian economy, and it provided almost 4,000 jobs to Canadians, and most people who benefit from these jobs are Caribbean people living in Canada. Costume designs, the jerk chicken man, the doubles, and all of that. So this is a big part of the Canadian economy, and that is in Toronto. And it's said that over $180 million in tax revenue was generated from the carnival. And that is why the government of Canada, federal and provincial government, they put out a lot of investment for the Caribbean Carnival. The Caribbean Carnival is one of, if not the biggest celebration in Canada. So yes, this is not just about Trinidad and Tobago Carnival itself. Trinidad and Tobago Carnival feeds all the other carnival that takes place in America, in Canada, in Jamaica, in Barbados. When you see like the songs come out for Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago, and Trinidad and Tobago Carnival held in February, it feeds the rest of Carnival. And you see the artists from Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados and all over the Caribbean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have the opportunity, because of Trinidad Carnival, to travel the world and to have gainful employment from their musical skills because of Trinidad Carnival. So this is a massive deal if the carnival in 2026, if we weren't able to have a carnival in 2026, I think that would be like a loss, not just for Trinidad and Tobago, but for all the other countries and all the other carnivals across the world that one carnival puts into. Okay, so I'm here with Tisha, and luckily, because Tisha, I I saw her last year when I was here, and you were actually on the thumbnail of the last video that I did last year.
Amazing.
And now we're here in 2025, and you're
2025.
celebrating. And you said you're a Jamaican, Bayesian background.
Yes.
And you know, one Caribbean, we're celebrating
One
everything
Caribbean,
Trinidad and
yes.
Tobago. How does it make you feel that, you know, Caribbean culture is such a big deal in a big city like Toronto, being one of the biggest city, most multicultural city in the world, and you're here celebrating Trinidad today?
It makes me proud because it just shows me how much work that we're doing, and we're doing the right thing. I know so much more can be done, but it shows you how many people really embrace the culture here, whether you are Trinidadian, whether you're oh my goodness, whether you're Tobagonian, but all the islands are here, and all the islands are represented, and it's just so beautiful to see that people come together, you know, make money, we can volunteer, we can show our resources, and we can participate and enjoy music and culture. It's just really beautiful to see that we can have something like this in our city, no violence, you know, it's just love.
And you seem to be a carnival queen because you're always decked out in your costume, and I guess every year the costume gets better and better. You know,
it should.
So what made you so interested in the culture, like carnival, like, you know, because it's one thing to just be on the sideline, but to jump in costume, you know, volunteer and to do, what made you so interested in the culture?
It actually started, oh my goodness, 16, 17 years ago. I was a stormer, honestly. I didn't know anything about the culture to the extent that I do now. My parents were not heavily invested in Toronto Carnival or Carabana, which is what it was at the time. And so I had to learn on my own. And I actually started with the band Toronto Revelers. And I was in the mass camp, you know, every night. And I was building mass, and I was learning through that process. And who knew that would have taken me, that was 2010, that would have taken me to where I am now, just truly learning about the culture, different islands, and what they have to offer. And it's been an amazing experience.
Okay, nice. So you started when you were 5, like 15 years ago. So, you know,
Thank you.
For someone that's watching this and they've never tried anything from Trinidad and Tobago, food or whatever, what is your favorite meal? What have you had here today that, you know, you'd recommend someone try for the first time?
I would absolutely recommend the Chow. So this Toronto Chow Fest is here, and I've followed them for years now. I think since they were at Crave, an all-inclusive event, and I love them. The quality has gotten better and better over the years, and I would say try a bacon saltfish.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, and we will see you in 2026, I'm sure.
Absolutely will.
All right. Take care. Have a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so again, this is not about fear-mongering, as I'm sure that there are people are going to come and say this is about fear-mongering. This is not about fear-mongering. This is about genuine concern about Trinidad Carnival 2026. As I said, a lot of people reached out to me because they wanted to know what is going on. I know people that normally book their Airbnb already and pay for their costume. They have not gone through the process yet because they don't know what is happening. So this is about genuine concern, and we would love some answers. So as I said, I will leave my number on the screen, Carb 21 number. And if one of the organizers would like to come on and we do like a interview to update the people in the diaspora, most of who support Trinidad Carnival, and as I said, over 41,000 people from North America flew into Trinidad and Tobago for the 2025 Carnival. So this is just, as I said, this is just out of genuine concern. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me because they are confused. They don't know how to plan for Carnival 2026. So please reach out to me and let me know what is going on for Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago in 2026. So guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.